Alright, Gramites, it's time to unite. Today, we're going to Aurelio's to get something to eat. Yummy, yummy. And I get to do it on the cheap because I got enough points on my app to get the price knocked down for all but like a few bucks. So, whenever you get a chance to eat cheap, you know, you better do it because you gotta save that money. Unless you're so ridiculously rich that you don't know what to do with yourself, but I ain't one of those. I'm just happy I get a meal every day, man. I really do. You know, there's some of us who take a lot for granted, and I guess today's message is just to appreciate what you got and always remember what you've been through, because without that, whether good or bad, it ain't gonna make you the person you are today. You know, life is definitely an adventure, you know. And it is whatever you make of it, you know. You can't really look to the external to find happiness. And what I mean by that is, you know, you gotta find what makes you happy, you know, and quit trying to, you know, quit trying to make something work that you know isn't going to make you happy or the other person happy, you know. I mean, it's one thing to tell someone that you love them, but it's another to do something for the other person, you know. And it just sucks that some people can't find that happiness, you know. There's a lot of people out there who is more concerned about why they're alive, and some people get into this state of depression that, you know, they almost can't find their way back to what makes them happy, you know. But, you know, those kind of people, they gotta take a look at their lives, you know. What are they trying to accomplish that is going to make them happy that's not happening in their real life, you know? I mean, there's depressed people out there. There's depressed people out there who, you know, try to find happiness in relationships, and when they don't work out, they even get into this deeper state of depression, and it's just a vicious cycle, you know. And I hate seeing people go through that. I mean, and it's not like you can just talk them out of it and get them out of that habit, because it's a habit that, you know, can only be broken by finding things to do that makes you happy, that isn't a person or object or whatever, you know. And I'll give you an example, because I never had it really rough growing up, but I didn't really have it easy either, as most have. And and back then, growing up, we were considered low middle class. You know, we had to save up every nickel and dime just for instance, you know, put siding on our house or a new roof on our house, you know, stuff like that, you know. But, you know, at the same time, I realized that, you know, my grandparents were good to me, you know. I was always fit. I was always clothed. I went to school just like everybody else. I didn't really get sick that often. I mean, most of my surgeries have been minor. You got ear tubes, tonsils out, stuff like that. Nothing major. And I'm glad for that. But my outlook didn't really change until I was in my 20s when something inside of me just had an epiphany, I guess you could say. It's almost like a light bulb went off, and I realized what matters the most is what people cares about you and loves you enough. It's kind of hard to explain, but ever since that time, my outlook on life has changed completely. Especially, and it got this boost after my camera got broken at Open Stage, believe it or not, back in October. All of my musician friends were arms in arms with me. I mean, almost that entire room of musicians went to bat and got after those people, who broke my camera and wanted to leave and say nasty things to me, and that was awesome. It did not feel awesome, at the time, because my camera was broken and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was at a loss for a good 3-4 days before someone bought me a new camera, but it just went to show me just how much people care. I mean, these musician friends were going to throw a benefit for me and raise up the money to buy a new camera and everything else, and yeah, that was a confidence booster right there. Just knowing the fact that people care that much, my outlook on life, it was changed before that, but at that time it was significant, because it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to actually feel it, and it just makes you so proud to be alive and have those kind of friends in your corner, So, if you're suffering with depression and everything like that, my suggestion to you is hold on, man. Realize who your friends are and let them in to your life on an emotional level. And don't sweat the small stuff, man. If you're dating and you feel the need to be around that person 24/7 and stuff like that, don't, man. Just don't. Unless she's ready to settle down and get with you, man. You don't want to be. How do I put it? You don't want to be a smother mother. I guess that's one way to put it. And push all those people who do love you away. Because who wants to be around someone who has to have that need for someone or anything 24/7? It's like they can't beat it in your head enough that they already love you, want to be with you and stuff like that. But that's just one example. Relationships is just one example. It could be anything. But then you also got to realize that them things are not going to make you happy either. Possessions, relationships, they're not going to make you happy, man. And you got to find what makes you happy without all that. And you got the support, get yourself a support system. That's probably the best thing you can do. And I know some situations make it worse, but You know, I can't sit here and pretend to know what goes on in the minds of everyone who's depressed and what all they've been through, but, you know, there are answers. You know, they may not see it, but if they cannot waver from that, you know, finding what makes them happy and stuff, and go back to that depression. They cannot let themselves do that, you know. Otherwise, how are you going to contribute to anything? I mean, for instance, if you are in a relationship or anything, and you're in a state of depression and stuff, how is that going to look to him or her? Because it may look like you're the lazy one who's not doing anything, who's always depressed and everything. Why would someone want to be with someone like that? That's just an example. You know, it could be a job, you know. Why have this person working for you if they're depressed and do all this stuff all the time? And you know, maybe they do get the work done, but they're grumpy and grouchy and don't want to be around, you know, and always smelling like alcohol. You know, you don't want to deal with it, you know. So if you're fighting depression, you know, just know I'm thinking of you. I want things to change for you, but ultimately it all starts with you. And we'll talk about this more because I'm at the place to eat. And I'll talk to you in a little bit, Grandmites. See you later. Alright, Grandmites. I'm back. I just got done eating at Aurelio's. And, oh my God, I'm so full. But it was so good. Oh, excuse me. Now time to drive home. Oh man. Good meal as always. I'm telling you, man, every time I go to Aurelio's, it's really good. But I feel so stuffed afterwards. Seriously though, that's one of the few places where I wish I had just never got full. I could eat as much as I wanted. It's just that good. If you haven't been to Aurelio's here in Peoria, you need to try it like ASAP. It is really that good. Another place that's opening up soon I'm going to try to probably go more often is the Pizza Ranch, which is opening up over on Brandywine in Peoria. Woo! There's your free flag, Pizza Ranch. But yeah, I tell you, good though, my gosh. Anyway, I'm going to go back home and play some more Final Fantasy 14. Get online and see what everyone's up to and just continue to grow the free company, you know? We worked so hard for what we've got, you know? And I just, still to this day, I can't believe how it all unfolded. You know, because we've only been a free company since about the end of October. We saved enough gil for housing. and we got our house on Christmas Day. You know, and what better gift could I give your company than housing, our own house, you know, in the midst. It really can't get any better than that, you know, but it does, because less than a week later, before New Year's Eve, we had our first airship built, you know, and here it is, you know, the 5th of January, and we're about halfway done building our second airship. I can't believe it, man. So yeah, we're in a good place right now, and I hope we keep that momentum up, because who knows what is in store for our future. Anyway, that is where I'm at right now. Things are good. You know, the outlook on life is okay. There's not really a care in the world right now. Granted, you know, there's people out there in the world who are suffering, and more power to those who are in those situations, you know. But there's just some things in this life that can't be resolved by trying to figure stuff out. Isn't that the truth? People get upset, angry, depressed, whatever you want to call it, over the simple fact that they don't have all the answers when they're not supposed to have all the answers. You know, the good book just tells us to love people for who they are. And I know there's a lot of them out there who are hard to love, but you know, and not everyone in this world is bad. There's a lot of good people. There's a lot of good people who have done wrong, done bad things. But I'm generally convinced that people try to do good. And I think we would get more fulfillment if we tried to bring more good out of those from around us. You know, and not losing sight for maintaining that happiness for yourself. And I think that's the message for today, you know. Don't be so concerned about making other people happy that you yourself are downright miserable. Because then the other person won't have anything to gain from you. Only the things that you give them or say to them. And that's a pretty steep price if it doesn't recover from that. And I guess that's another thing I had to learn too. almost home. I'm ready to end this vlog, but before I go, I'll show you a little bit of what happened a week ago Monday when we had the ice storm. We had a lot of wind, a lot of ice, and it resulted in this. All of them sticks in the yard, limbs, branches. Knocked the soffit off of our gutter. Yep. There's more in the front yard, but I don't want to show that. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, Grahamites. See you later.